All right. So you can see at the footing we have reinforcements. We are told we have this one, which is 5y16, and it's both ways. So this one that we can see, and also these ones that you can see the ends, it is 5y16. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then on the other side we have 5 reinforcements. So how do we take off the reinforcement? For the reinforcement, we shall begin with either of the footings, and for this case we shall begin with this footing measuring 2 meters by 2 meters by 400. So we need to know how many reinforcements we will use and the length of each reinforcement. So to get the length of this reinforcement going this way, and this footing is 2 meters, what is the length of this reinforcement bar? It shall be 2 meters. We deduct the cover. You see, between this reinforcement here and the end of the concrete here, we have this space. That space is called the cover. The reinforcement bars do not go to the end, because after concrete is done, the reinforcement bars should be hidden inside the concrete. So the space between that reinforcement bar and the end of the concrete is called the concrete cover. So when we are looking for the length of this reinforcement bar, we have to take the total length of the column, then we deduct the cover this side and cover this side. The covers, we had already said that we will use a cover of 30 millimeters. So if it has a cover of 30 millimeters here and 30 millimeters here, and this base and this footing is 2000, so the remaining length that should have the bar is 2000. We deduct 30 times 2, which is 60. Then we have this bend. You can see this reinforcement bar has a bend here, then it has a bend here. We have to add the length of that bar. So the formula that we shall use, it shall be, we take the 5.5 times diameter. Every bend here measures 5.5 times diameter. In other cases, you will find us using 400. We deduct the cover out and we deduct the cover down. So in this example, we shall use 5.5D. But we shall also do another example that shows, if you're not using 5.5D, how you deduct the cover on top and then the bottom. So you should keep tuned so that you can find that video. So in this case, the bend is 5.5D. So if the reinforcement is like this one, Y16, if it's Y16, the size of the bend shall be 16 times 5.5. 16 millimeters times 5.5. So it shall be 5.5 times 16 over 1000. All right, so that you can get the length of that bend. All right, so in booking, in the description column, you shall write the length of the footing is 2 meters. Then we shall deduct the cover on both sides. It shall be 0.06. So you shall remain with 1.94. Then you add the beds, which is two bends. Each bend is 5.5D. So it shall be 2 bends times 5.5 times the diameter, and it shall give you 0.76. So the total length of each steel bar shall be 2.12. All right. Then when we are booking it here, it shall be MR of Y16 diameter steel bar. So we have 2 footings measuring 2000 by 2000. Then it is both ways, on the length side of the column and on the width side. Then we have 7 numbers. 7 numbers. Where did we get 7 numbers? It's because we are already told here it's 7y16. So there are 7 in number. Each way it's 7. So 7 numbers. Let me come again. 2 footings both ways, 7 number in each way, then the length of the bar, which is 2.12. We shall get 59.36 MR of Y16 diameter steel bar. Then we shall go to the reinforcement for the footing measuring 1.5 by 1.5 by 400. what is the total length of bars that we shall buy. So the length of one bar, the total length of the footing is 1.5. We deduct the covers because the reinforcement should not go up to the end. The size of the cover on either side is 30 millimeters. So after you deduct the covers, which is 60 millimeters, then you add the size of the bend. In this case, we are using the size of the bend as 5.5 D. So there are two bends, 5.5 D. So 2 times 5.5 times diameter is 16 over 1,000. So it shall be 1.44. We add 0.176. We get 1.16. All right. So when we are booking it, it shall be, we have 4 footings both ways. Each way is 5 reinforcements, and one reinforcement measures 1.62. So the total length of reinforcement shall be 64.80. They are MR of Y16 diameter steel bars. This 5, we have already said that we get it from the section. You can see it's 5 Y16 both ways. All right, so now we shall go to reinforcement at the stump. You can see that the concrete, when we are measuring concrete in the footing, we take this one. But when you are measuring concrete in the stump, we take from here to here is the height. But now we are talking about reinforcements. Despite the fact that concrete is here at the stump, as the footing, and here at the stump, when you are doing reinforcement, the reinforcement at the stump will come into the footing. And this height shall be measured in the stump, because this reinforcement coming into the footing from the stump is for the stump. So we are going to calculate the length of the bars in the stump. So we are told that from here to bottom here it's 1850. If we want to get the length of this reinforcement at the stump, we shall first deduct the length of this ground beam, which is here, which is 250, because the depth of this ground beam is 300. We deduct this 50. The distance from the top of the ground beam to the ground is 50. So we shall take 1850, we deduct to 50. All right, then we shall add the depth of the ground beam. All right, so after we have deducted to 50 to the bottom of the ground beam, we shall add 300, so that we can get up to here, up to the top of the ground beam. Or else we can take 1850 plus 50, because we want the depth from here up to here. All right, then we need to deduct this cover at the below here. You see, these reinforcements are coming into the footings, and they do not get to the bottom of the footings. We have to have a concrete cover. So we shall take 1850 plus 50, 1900. We deduct this cover, which is 30 millimeters. All right, then we need to deduct also 2y16. Why 2y16? Here below the footings, we have reinforcements going this way and reinforcements coming this way. Remember, this is the footing of the column. We have reinforcements coming this way and reinforcements coming this way. Then we have the reinforcements attached to it. So for this reinforcement, it lies on 2 reinforcements, one coming this way and another one below that one going this way. Then we need the concrete cover. So we need to deduct the concrete cover first of 30 millimeters. Then we need to deduct the thickness of two reinforcement bars, one below, then the other one on top. Then this bar is on top of those ones. So the thickness of one bar, all right, the thickness of one bar of Y16 is 0.016 millimeters. If there are 2, it shall be 0.16 millimeters times 2, because there are 2 Y16s. Then we need to add the length of the bend. You see these bars, they have some bend. What is the formula for finding the length of that bend? It is 5.5 D. All right, so 5.5 D, it shall be, if the diameter of these ones coming this way is Y16, it shall be 5.5 times 0.16. Alright, so we need also to add some length from above the ground beam for the overlaps, so that it can be able to lap with the reinforcements coming from up there. Alright, what is the length that we allow for overlap? It is 40D. So if the reinforcement bar is Y16, it shall be 40 times 0.016. Alright, so you can be able to see that full calculation here, whereby we say the length of the bar shall be, the total depth is 1.85. You deduct for the ground beam to get to the bottom of the ground beam, then you add for the ground beam so that you can get to the very top of the ground beam, then you deduct the cover at the bottom, then you deduct the thickness of two Y16s below that reinforcement bar. Then we shall add the bends, two beds, then we shall add the length for the overlap. So the total length of one bar in a stump of 250 by 250 shall be 2.57. So we have two stumps. In this stump, we have two stumps measuring 250 by 250. We have four sides. We have four reinforcements. Why do we say four? Because if you can see, we have this column. We have four reinforcements at the corners. All right. So we have two stumps, four reinforcements in each stump. Then the length of one reinforcement is 2.57. So the total length of one bar of all the bars is 20.56. Y8, Y16 diameter steel bars. Alright, now that one is the length of the bars for the stump measuring 250 by 250. Now, those are the bars that are standing. We need to calculate the length of the stirrups. These ones that are going around the rings. Alright, so they are called the stirrups. And also they are called the links. Alright, so we need to calculate the length of the links. The links, if I'm to sketch, they are rectangular, they are curved rectangular, then they have some hooks. Alright, if they are like that, we want to find the total length of this stirrup. It shall be 250 by 250 by 250 by 250. Alright, then this side it has a cover of 25, this side a cover of 25, this side a cover of 25, and this side a cover of 25. So on the length side, if it was 250 for the column, we shall deduct two covers, this side and this side. For the wing, we shall deduct this side times this side. And because it's a square, we shall take one side 0.250, we deduct 0.050. Alright, two sides shall be 0.05. Alright, so it shall be 250 deduct 25, that makes 50. So it gives you 200. So if the length of this stirrup here is 200, removing the cover all around, it shall be 0.8. Okay, then we shall add this length of the hooks. One hook, we shall use 24D. So if it's a diameter of D6 for the stirrup, we shall use 24 times 0.006. Alright, so the total length of the stirrup shall be 0.944. So the length of this stirrup, the total length of the bar that we shall require to do the stirrup is 0.944. That one is for coming up with one stirrup. How many stirrups do we need? Alright, that is what we shall calculate here. The stirrups shall be distributed from the below the ground beam to below here, inside the concrete footing. So the stirrups shall begin above the concrete cover and above the two reinforcements for the footing. Then it shall be just below the ground beam. So what is this depth from here up to here? So we shall take the total depth here, which is 1850. Then we shall deduct the ground beam. Then we shall deduct the cover and the two reinforcement bars below here. And it shall give us a total depth of 1.538. All right, so we are told the spacing of the stirrups is 200. So it shall be 1.538 divided by 200 plus 1, and it shall be 8.69. So say 9 stirrups. So we have 2 stumps, 9 stirrups in each stump, and the length of the bar coming up with 1 stirrup is 0.94. So the total length of the bars we shall buy to do the stirrups shall be 17 meters. All right, so that we are already done with the length of the bars for the stumps in the 250 by 250 column. We have calculated the total length of the stirrups. Now we shall go to the stump measuring 200 by 200 together with the length of the stirrups. Remember, we are done with this stump measuring 250 by 250, but this one measures 200 by 200 because the size of the footing is smaller. So this one is the one that we are taking off now. So the length of the bars coming down the stump, we shall calculate it just like the other one in terms of height. So the height shall be 1850. Then we shall deduct 250 up to the below the ground beam. Then we add 300 to get here up, or we take 1850 plus 50 so that we can know the length from here up to here. So it shall be 1900. Then we shall deduct the cover of concrete below here, which is dirty. We deduct the thickness of 2 reinforcement bars of Y16. Then we shall add the length of the bends here, and each bend is 5.5D. All right, so 5.5 times the diameter, because the reinforcements coming down the stump, they are Y12 bars, so it shall be 5.5 times 0.012. So then we should give an allowance for overlaps with the column bars coming from the top. So the lapse is 40D. So 40 times the diameter of those bars, which is 12. So it's 40 times 0.012. All right. So the total length of the bars coming up shall be 2.384. If you follow up this calculation, you'll be able to understand the total length of that bar, where it's coming from. So how many reinforcement bars do we have in each stump? We have 4 reinforcement bars in 4 stumps. Each reinforcement bar is measuring 2.38. So the total length of the bars is 38.14. Then we need to calculate the length of the stirrup. The stirrup, remember, in this case, the stump measures 200 by 200. So if it is 200, it's a square measuring 200 by 200, and we have to leave a cover of 25 this side, 25 this side. So it shall be 200 deduct 25. So 200 deduct 50, you get 150. Then we have how many sides of that of the stirrup? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we multiply by 4. So we shall get 0.60. Then we add the size of the hook, and the hook is usually 24D. So 24 times the diameter, the stirrup is M6. So it is 24 times 0.006. So we shall get 0.144. So the total length of one stirrup shall be 0.74. How many stirrups? The total number of stirrups is determined by the height on which the stirrups are distributed. The stirrups are distributed from below the beam to above the concrete cover and above the 2 reinforcements in the footing. So the total length from here up to here, it is 1.538. So we divide by the spacing of the stirrups. You see the spacing of the stirrups is written here. The spacing of these stirrups is 250. For this one was 200. So this one you divide by 250 plus 1. So how many links do we have? It is 7.52. So say 8. So when you are coming to book them, we shall say we have 4 stumps. All right. So we multiply by 8 sides. No, we have 4 stumps. Then we multiply by 8 number stirrups. Each stirrup is 0.74. So we shall get the total length is 23.81 mr of M6 diameter link.